Jules, we're not done. We're going to try to answer the question of what happens next for these two sides, Spain and Argentina, and can they build on it? And let's start with Argentina, obviously, because you have the Messi succession here.
Yeah.
You obviously have older players. I'm pretty sure we won't see Paredes or De Paul at the next World Cup.
Mendy neither.
Or Otamendi. Ballon d'Or Lautaro, I don't know. I think there's obviously a fork in the road here.
Yeah.
Because I kind of think this is the second World Cup where he's been given chances and didn't play to the Ballon d'Or level.
Yeah.
They'll be okay with Alvarez, but you know what I'm going to say. You build this team around Nico Paz right now. In that role.
Certainly deserve that chance. Then I don't know if he will take it. I don't know if he can make that step up at international level. It's obviously very different to club level, where, let's not forget, he's a Como player. You know, he's never played in European football, for example. Only played in Serie A with 2 very good seasons. But let's see this season coming up, where he will have that kind of experience. Let's see. You would expect as early as the September international break, and we don't know exactly what Messi is going to do yet for the next cycle of World Cup 4 years. I think that's
Copa America
clear.
maybe.
The Copa America first. In a 2-year cycle, will he stay? Will he not stay?
41 years old.
Yeah, I think it's probably too much. But let's see. I don't think he's announced anything just yet.
No.
So we will see.
All we have is that this is his last World Cup. And look,
Yeah.
people remember the last time, I think it was the last time that he lost a game at MetLife in 2016, he announced he was retiring
He
from
was
Argentine
happy.
football,
Yeah,
from
yeah.
international football forever. And he had a pretty good 10 years after
Absolutely.
that.
So you never know with him. But yeah, it would be difficult to do for whoever gets that kind of position, wears that number 10 shirt, because unless they retire it, which they might do, and I think it would be great tribute to him and Maradona and the others, Campes, etc., if they retire that number 10. But if they don't, somebody will have to wear it. This will be heavy. And let's see also if Scaloni stays. He was in tears in his press conference today, clearly very emotional, how much he was hurting, which you can completely understand. Scaloni was a massive reason why this team became so successful too. If he's not there, I don't know who takes over, somebody like Cacciado maybe, somebody like that, I don't know. But again, it would be a new cycle with different people in charge. And that's never easy to do.
We imagine Mastantuono will be part of the future.
Yeah,
there is talent there coming through. I think you have to have the courage to look at these players and turn the page. McAllister and Enzo you can rely on for the next cycle. Lisandro, if you have to rely on him, I don't think that's necessarily a good thing if there is nobody else better than Lisandro who can play at the back. Guti Romero needs to have an attitude adjustment, I think, for him to be a consistent contributor. Tagliafico, I'm assuming I feel like you probably know better than I how old he is, but I feel like he's been here for 10 years.
I think he's 32, 31 or 32.
You have to have, I think, that courage. Dibu, I think, can give you certainly another World Cup.
Yeah, for a keeper, it's different.
And that's a solid place to start from. With regards to Spain, I find this really interesting because we talked about how a lot of these players are, and I say the greatest of respect, they're world champions, but they're not superstars who play for big clubs, most of them, right? Yeah. I look at the tournament Dani Olmo had. For me, Dani Olmo, I know Rodri, I think, won the Golden Ball.
Yeah, and rightly so.
I would have given it to Dani Olmo for what he produced throughout the tournament.
Yeah, outstanding.
But obviously, you're going to have to start thinking beyond Rodri.
Yeah, who's 30.
And, Zubimendi is not that much younger than Rodri. We got so used to look, Zubimendi comes in. But I feel like they're not going to be short of central midfielders who can fill that role.
Yeah, it's more that you're going to lose at some point Rodri and Fabian Ruiz with the same age,
30 years old.
Same year, at the same time, maybe I think they'd be okay for the next Euros, for the World Cup in 4 years' time. I'm not so sure for either of them. And
Marc
to
Bernal
replace
is
one,
ready to step in.
Sorry?
Marc Bernal is ready to
maybe
help
but there's still some really good young players. At some point, Gavi, Pedri, all of them will take charge of this national team. Lamine is obviously the leader.
And maybe we'll see a fit Nico for a full season going into it rather than the version we saw at this World Cup.
Although he was in form at the right time because he lit up that final, not just with the assist, some really good stuff before that even. So if you get that, it's great. And Spain have obviously a pool of talent, even in youth teams, that is pretty special. So let's say Victor Munoz does really well at Liverpool, and can maybe step up. Oyarzabal, still a decent age. So I think the future is really bright. Again, whether De La Fuente stays or not, it's a different story then, because every time you change your head coach, it's a new cycle that starts. But they are in very...
Is there talk about De La Fuente leaving?
No, not that I've heard, but you just never know. I mean, maybe he thinks, listen, doing back-to-back is hard to match.
I look at De La Fuente. He does not... I cannot imagine De La Fuente... Well, I'll repeat the joke that everybody's made. Other than in a classroom as like a substitute chemistry teacher, I can't imagine De La Fuente.
No, he's
in a
65
different
years
context.
old. 65 is...
So you're talking about retirement, not going to another team.
No, I don't think so. But at 65, it's a lot of pressure. You start for another 4-year cycle. It gets you to 69. I think it's a conversation that probably he will have, him, his people around him, his family, all of that, and then decide. I hope he stays because he's been wonderful for them and he's built something very special. But he gets to an age. And again, I think he's more... He might feel this is the greatest achievement of all. And he might be right too. And that it's hard to do better than Euros and World Cup back-to-back, you know. So let's see. But they certainly have great momentum. They're unbeaten now in, 38 games or 39 games. Which,
that record's a bit of a fugazi record.
yeah, because it's
Italy
not
held the record.
Yeah, true.
So, you know, so it's a good record.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's good when you think about Kubasi, Lamine, the kind of age of those kind of players, it can only be very positive.
Jules, it's been a long World Cup,
Yeah,
longest World
6
Cup
weeks.
ever. I think overall impressions, positive. We didn't have as much controversy in past.
Yeah.
We had a pretty big one that we talked about, but the football was good.
Yeah, I thought loads of goals scored. Only Panama didn't score a single goal in 307 goals, I think, all in all. I was not a fan of the halftime show, for example, so there's still things to improve. But as a first World Cup for 64, it was long, but I thought it was good. Not the greatest World Cup of all time,
48,
like some are
48,
saying.
64, you're a little
48,
ahead
I
of
said,
yourself.
sorry, 48. Not the greatest of all time, like some have been saying, but I would give it like an A grade.
Yeah, I think overall, I think the spirit's been great, and I think a lot of people came here with preconceptions about the U.S. and I think a lot of them were corrected
absolutely.
by this
It was great.
experience.
Yeah.
Jules, this brings us to an end. We're going to be back on August 17th.
That's
Mark
right.
your calendars as the new season begins. Until then, love the game, love your neighbor, love yourself.